dance. Oh, come on, you can do better than that, fat dog. That. Well, hello again. A year later, it's my humble little garden again. August 1st, 2022. And I'll bring your attention to a weed. It was supposed to be a butterfly bush, but it's a weed. But I stuck it in the ground, so I just let it grow. This is a butterfly bush. And this one doesn't have any blooms on it yet, but, well, it's starting to. Right there. But I'll show you along the way, there's other ones. This is a borage. I actually had hummingbirds on this morning. Going yeet, 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 yeet. Well, that's one of my favorite flowers for sure. This is the west side of the trellis going into the garden. These are Sweet 100 cherry tomatoes here. And this is what they produce, these beautiful red globes. Very good. I always plant flowers for the pollinators. This is a Corno del Toro pepper. I've already taken 2 big ones off, and this is another one. Basil. A lot of dill. These were saved seeds from last year, and the dill is just growing goopy, which is nice. I like that. Chamomile planted itself there. More flowers. Purple petunias. And I maintain Paul's request of cherry tomatoes in the front trellis, and these are Sun Gold, a new tomato for me, and recommended by Gardener Scott, and they're delicious. They're wonderfully sweet, with just enough tartness too. Yeah, very good. Last year this was overrun with the bachelor buttons, and I wasn't going to let that happen this year. So I planted a bunch of different zinnias and cosmos over there. My neighbor passed away unfortunately last year, and they found this in his backyard, and they were going to toss it, and I took it, and this here I have like 3 moonflowers going up it. I've had some moonflowers, but the buds have been short lately. And this is morning glories. Then inside of here I've got another friend of mine wanted me to grow some oriental poppies. They're perennial poppies, and that's these guys here, the orange guys, and they've been sprouting since beginning of June. So this is much more of what I like in a flower garden. I can come out and pick flowers for Kathy, and they last. The zinnias last quite a while. Very happy with that. And I still have, and the reason I keep the bachelor buttons is the goldfinches come in the morning and they'll land on the ones that are failed and or gone to seed and just pluck the seeds off. So, but that's nice. Yeah, it all works. Then on this trellis I have, besides this mammoth dill, cucumbers. I did have problems with a fungus, but it's still producing cucumbers, and we got babies up here, so I'm just leaving it alone. Growing more birdhouse gourds. I guess I got 6 of them hanging here, and they're doing fine. And this is my real novelty crop this year, our loofah gourds. This just sprouted 2 days ago. It's already 8 inches long, and these are just doing very well. This one's probably over 24 or 5 inches. And they're going up this cattle panel trellis. Yeah, I just tried different things, I guess, and so far it's worked out pretty good. Okay.
And what do you have over here on this side, Brian?
Well, this is my standard tomato bed. I did things different this year. Last year I had everything staked up on bamboo, 6-foot bamboo poles. This year I hung 2 cattle panels up. And I'm growing, these are alpacas. These were my favorite paste tomatoes last year. And they're doing pretty good. And then as you can see, they've almost reached the top of the cattle panel or exceeded it. So I let some suckers grew and I extended these suckers out to the edges of the shade cloth to get more of a harvest off of these guys. And it's easy to keep the airflow going too. And I do trim these tomato leaves quite frequently. So, because if I didn't, I'd be getting the late blight like I've had for the last 2 years. This year, knock on wood, nothing showed up yet. Then this next bed of tomatoes here are the Black Krim. And I am so excited with these tomatoes because I ate my first one today. And they're just a lovely tomato. They're pretty darn prolific, as you can see. And the flavor on them is just wonderful. They don't like a lot of sun. They got some leaf curl here, even with the shade cloth, but they still produce, so I'm not complaining. And then this is a new little bed I put right in the dirt. Here's another butterfly bush that I should have put out there, but I didn't. And these are more of the oriental poppies. They haven't flowered yet because there's too much shade, but they're perennial. They'll be back next year. And we'll get flowers out of them. And of course, I got the borage, some marigolds, and this was a seed I got from one of my customers' houses last year. And it has a nice, pretty, well, actually the flowers on the plants I took the seeds from were blue, but these are yellow, so I don't know what they are, but I like them. Got a nice colored, nice leaf shape to them, and yeah, and it's a perennial as well, so it'll be good. And then up here in the middle here, we have more paste tomatoes. I only planted 1 San Marzano, and I got 1 ripe. Everything is way late this year for some reason. I don't know, but it is. And that's just the way it goes. Everything's growing fine. And then these tomatoes here are Jersey Devils. They were given to me by another client of mine as tomatoes, and I saved some seeds. And they look a lot like the alpacas, but they're a little smaller. But they're pretty flavorful from what I remember last year. And you get some bigger ones too, so yeah, it's got a ways to go. And one of the things I did different this year was establishing a perennial cover crop. Now here it's kind of clouded in, but I got creeping thyme and oregano in both of the tomato beds and the celery bed. And it's really retaining the moisture well. Most importantly, this fall into the winter, there's going to be living roots in these beds. So next spring, you're going to have all those organisms ready to go. This pepper here is a Keystone Giant. They're not very giant yet, but they're getting there. They were short, late coming up too, but they're doing all right. And then this guy here, let's see, let me step on the other side here, Paul. This is a big red tomato pepper. That's a big red. Yeah. I need to get him off so I get more flowers. I only got a couple flowers on this guy. And here's cilantro. We have strawberries in here, dill. These tomatoes here are mortgage lifters. And again, you can see the bed where you have the oregano and the creeping thyme And I have marigolds and sage over there, and then that other bed there are triple crops. Last year at this time, I'd already been eating them for 2 or 3 weeks, and it's just a slow year for some reason for a lot of these guys, but it's just the way it is. But once again, I do believe this shade cloth has saved my tomatoes, or kept them as productive as they have been over the last 2 and now through the 3rd year or so. And I had a bunch of excess leeks, so here's a leek here. There's another leek over there. And this year, I mean this bed here, last year, the center was nothing but, I had the 2 ends planted, the north and the south end planted with onions, as I do this year. But the rest of it was all potatoes. And I ended up with so many potatoes, so I cut it up this year. This side here I have brassicas that are in the shade cloth, and I've been eating broccoli and cauliflower out of that. And on this side here I planted more onions and leeks. And this side here is mainly, well, we have white Walla Wallas over here on the left side. And these are a red globe onion. And it looks like they're barely bulbing, but the thing is, ouch, this is about, I don't know, 2 inches of leaf mulch. I mean, just shredded leaves and stuff. That's mulch on top of the soil. So there's no resistance to these bulbing onions here. I don't have to go around and spoon them because this medium around them is so loose, retaining the moisture. You know, this is pretty damp soil still, so you know this is working out real. And then the damn squirrels bring peanuts over here. Oh. And here's a basil. I know where else to stick it. And potatoes growing all over the place. They were really late getting in, so yeah, I'll still have potatoes. And I have a mix of leeks, Walla Wallas, and the red globe onions in this section here. Yeah, here's a nice leek here. And then on this side, from here over, these are all sweet potatoes. And the vines are just going all over everything. Last year I had a heck of a problem with voles eating my bigger tubers, but hopefully I took care of that, and we'll see. More leeks in here. And this last year on the other side, this was my failed celery bed because I had planted broccoli in front and totally shaded them, and they're doing just beautiful. This is a pink celery, and this is a tango celery. And they're just beautiful celeries. They're really nice. And this bed too, I have, this is the creeping thyme, and in the back I have oregano. That's really helped controlling the moisture. And this leaf curl, I believe, is from heat, because I don't think it's anything else. And there's no disease on the stalks, and they taste perfectly fine. So I'm pretty sure that's just from heat. And here's this year's leaf mold bin. I started this last fall. It was filled up to here with shredded leaves. I encircled it with bags of leaves and covered the top with bags of leaves. And after all winter and now summer, this is what I'm getting into now with the leaf mold here. It's really starting to be what I could use this now as leaf mold after a year. It's really, and this is so moist, and we haven't had much rain, so this is really a beautiful thing. And these bags are from gathering leaves last year. It just holds the moisture in. And here's another bin here, leaf mold I started, I don't know, a month or so ago with some just shredded leaves, and that's breaking down pretty good. But it's not near as far as long as this stuff here. But there'll be leaf mold by spring, hopefully. Last year I was decomposing wood chips in here and it worked all right. And over here, there's another bin full of shredded leaves that it's shrunk down to about, I don't know, down about here now, I guess. But this was filled up in maybe June, so that's working pretty good. And here's a hot compost that I got to turn tomorrow. Should be in the 130 or 140 range, I'm guessing. Yeah, right at 130. So yeah, it's ready to, it was up to 150, and now it's cooling down. So there'll be the 4th turn, and I think it'll be done. Well, this is finished leaf mold from last year. This is what it inevitably turns into. I mean, this stuff is just wonderful material. This is why I started all my seeds in last winter. Was this material right here. And I used perlite last year, but I'm not even going to use perlite this year when my seed starts. This is what all this work goes into, and you can't beat it. You really can't. And underneath this tarp, this is finished compost in here. This is finished. I haven't sifted it, but it's full of worms. Under the microscope, it's beautiful. There's nematodes in here. There's fungus, good fungi in here, and it's just wonderful stuff. It smells beautiful, and I know what's in it because I made it with it. And now we'll go out this way. These tomatoes, when I literally planted this tomato plant right here. This is a black creme with a post hole digger, because I dug it down about 3 feet. I put in compost and stuff in the bottom, because this plant I started in January. This one here, this triple crop, I planted it on the other side of the bed behind here that's full of mint, laid it on its side, and now it's climbed up to here. And this is starting to get some fruit on it. And that guy in the end there is another mortgage lifter. Those were all 3 of these plants were started in January. I'll never do that again. Too much work messing with them. Heidi, come. And this is a new garden for me over here. These are all grow bags, and what's inside of them is mainly my leaf mold and compost, and I had to buy some stuff at Costco that was on sale to finish them off. And I've been putting unfinished compost on top and finished compost on top as it settles. But here I have shishito peppers that are wonderful. They're not really hot, but they're just hot enough. They give you a nice little bite. And I have some sage in here, marigolds. These are Chicago pickling cucumbers, and I haven't gotten too many of them, like 2 or 3. I don't know what's going on with them. I have another zucchini coming out here. That just started today. I've only had 3 out of that plant. I don't know what's going on. And here's jalapeno. And here with some basil. This guy here is butternut squash. Got some squash coming up. I planted catnip for my damn cat, but he could care less, so that was kind of a waste of time. The only problem I'm having with the squash is keeping up with the squash bugs. I'm out here every day looking for squash bugs in egg cases, and well, here's an example. This used to be an egg case here, but I covered it with Vaseline, and that killed them. But I ran out of Vaseline, and I've just been pulling leaves. So, but yeah, the squash bugs are terrible. So, I'm dealing with them guys. And here's a butterfly bush in bloom. Yeah. I didn't know if I'd get any blooms this year. It's a perennial, but it's doing pretty good. More butternut squash. And this guy here is an acorn squash. And I got some acorns on there. There's a few more down here. I didn't know how these guys would grow on the trellis, and I thought they'd be smaller plants, but they're kind of goofy. But they're doing all right. I have some more Market More 76 cucumbers here. This one needs to be picked. These are pretty, I mean, like, every day I'm out here taking another cucumber off this thing. And here I've got some melons, some small cantaloupe coming up. More basil, more, and here's some more shishito peppers, catnip, banana peppers. It's doing well. And I have more, some more cantaloupe on this side. This guy's doing pretty good. So, first time ever growing cantaloupe or winter squash. So, kind of exciting. And this winter squash is just, I've just been wrapping it around into this other fence we got. So, who knows? I mean, what we get out of it, I'm not quite sure. And these are petunias I started from seed, and this Silver Falls dichondra I started from seed. Give it a nice draping effect. And I love these are called raspberry petunias. These are, I just love them. They grow like crazy, as you can see. They're hanging baskets. Kind of neat to see the top of the squash and the melons coming on top of the fence there. And then that whole bed up there, I used to have strawberries in them, but I never got a strawberry out of that location, so I put all petunias in there in the Silver Falls dichondra, and it looks much better than an empty bed of strawberries. So those are my new additions this year. And everything's growing quite well. I haven't had any real... My biggest issue has been the darn squash bugs. And I know if I hadn't kept on top of them, I wouldn't have much as far as leaves out here anymore. So it's doing all right. Yeah. And this is a south-facing fence, so this gets just a ton of light every day. And of course, I always have my comfrey growing for the... I'm finding that if I keep the flowers pulled, the leaves get larger. But I kind of don't like doing it because the bumblebees just love these flowers, and I hate to take it away from them. I'm keeping it at check this time. I'm not letting it get goofy. And this poor bed, it's one of the things I've been meaning to get to, but these are carrots that I started in the spring, and these are sugar snacks. They're turned out really nice. They're a nice carrot. But I'm gonna put some beans in here, And over there I'm gonna put some more carrots and see what I get by the end of the fall. I greatly expanded my worm production, and I tell you what, this is the best thing I've come up with for growing worms, are these grow bags. I don't have to keep a track of storms. I need to filter this out. This is all worm castings. I put some melon rinds in here a week ago and they were gone in less than a week. Completely. Every part of it. Completely gone. But this is all worm castings in here. I need to switch this over. Separate them out. But yeah, these grow bags are fantastic for growing worms. And I got 3 of them. And they actually all need to be, switched, filtered out. And I got natural worms in here and red wigglers, but yeah, I need to switch these guys out. Yeah. And I think that's just about it. I mean, and here's a, yeah, this turned out really nice. I like that. And the Silver Falls Dichondra really gives a nice accent hanging off of the fence there. I like that. I usually get my hanging baskets from a guy in up around Baraboo, but I couldn't get up there this year, so this is Walmart stuff and Costco stuff. Yeah. And our little fountain dribbling away.
Well, thank you, Brian. Very beautiful.